And we are back live. Sorry about that, guys. I don't know what's up with Streamlabs. It be clonking out sometimes and just ending the stream without even notice. So this is going to be part 2 of the day trading study group. So starting over, real quick, introduction. Going forward, every other Sunday, we're going to do private study groups like this, Sunday evenings for members only. This one time right here, I'm opening it up to the public for you guys all to see, view what this is. And then, real quickly, let me show you guys. What we're going to do with the study group is prepare for the upcoming week. We're going to break down sectors, the markets, talk about some of our favorite stocks that we want to keep an eye on going into next week. And this is right now just for the public only. Going forward, every other Sunday evening, we're going to do this for members only. And if you're interested, just click that join button right there. Join the membership. There's an introduction video here explaining what this is all about. If you join up, send me a message on Discord, a private message, and then I'll upgrade you to a member and we'll unlock the whole Discord for you. So you're a member, you're going to get member-only live stream study groups, the masterclass every month, member-only videos, full access to the Discord, and much more. There's a link down in the description down below. If you want to join the Discord or the membership, feel free to click on it if you want. You don't have to. But this is for people that want to take this seriously. They want to build a strong community and help each other. This is what I want this to be about. So, all right, picking up where we left off. We were talking about AMD and FSLY. Real quickly, I'm going to go back to AMD because I think that's where it cut out. And again, I'm sorry. I don't know what's up with Streamlabs. It just keeps cutting out randomly. But overall, AMD, bullish. I'm very bullish on AMD. It's going to run up, test that $100, and then pull back down and work its way back up to that $100 for a good $100 break. A lot of people love trading AMD. Now we're going to look at FSLY. Let's see. And this is what I was talking about with that trend line. Connect all of the lower highs on it as it was going down. Don't bottom pick. Wait for the stock to push up through that trend line. And look what happened. Pushed up through it, ran all the way up. And then from that, this stock just kept making higher lows, higher highs, trending all the way up. Going forward, I'd look for FSLY to hold 85 as support, push up to this $95, $100 level, and if this can break $100, look out. This has got a lot of room to run, fill in this gap right here, all the way up to 125. So currently it's at 185, $15, so $40 to the upside. You're looking on FSLY. A lot of room to move, but this is more of a long-term swing type of trade. Even with the moving averages here, look at they're squeezing. You got this blue line coming up over that red line, squeezing, pushing the stock higher. So pretty bullish on FSLY also. I think someone mentioned PLTR. PLTR looks pretty good. Same thing. Draw the trend line on it. Don't be a bottom picker. Wait for the stock to push up through that trend line and continue going. This could run all the way back up to 27. Oh yeah, PLTR has a nice, good move setting up on it. This was just downtrending and downtrending. Finally bottomed out down here. Look at how they did this. Right here on this day right here, we'll zoom in on that. It had this pretty much a wedge right there. They broke it to the downside and they trapped shorts. They brought it back up. They hovered it right at the area it broke from right here. And then from there, they pushed it up. Nice squeeze on it. And then from that day forward, look at that. From 2250 all the way up to 2550. And then recently, it's just been consolidating. So 2350 has been support on it. If it can get above 25 and 2550, like I said, this can run all the way back up to 2750, maybe even $30. PLTR, keep an eye on it. But real quickly, I just spotted this. That float is pretty massive. That float is 730 million. So keep an eye on that going forward. ACB, we could potentially get a nice pop, but pot stocks are just so choppy. That's the thing I don't like about pot stocks. Very choppy. I'd look for $10 to hold on ACB. If it can push up above 1250, it could easily push back up to 14 and maybe break out to new highs. Look at that daily chart. The daily is looking pretty good. You got that 13 EMA pushing up, about to squeeze up over that 200-day moving average. The trigger point is going to be $12. So keep an eye on $12. I think we covered pot stocks earlier in the part 1 of the study group. Pot stocks was looking pretty bullish. But as of choppiness, this is what I'm talking about with the choppiness. Like, it's just so everywhere. This was a good day right here. And then look at this. A lot of back and forth action. And then it kept selling down and then selling down. And it was doing all of that on less and less and less volume. So every time it pushed down and made a new low on the day, it was doing it on lighter volume, which made it push back up and then squeezed all the way up to 1250. This trapped shorts. So look at the level it broke from, which was right here, and it went down, and it came all the way back up, and then it hovered right at that area it broke from to the downside, pushed up, holding VWAP, push up, holding VWAP, getting all of that volume built up, and blast off all the way up. Paying attention to the big picture. Look at the next day. The next day had a quick sell-off, and then it wedged out right there, right at that VWAP. And from, what is that, 1150, had a nice run up to just over 12 bucks, and then sold off the rest of the day. That's a pretty sick sell-off right there, from 12 all the way down to 970. So usually, with a pretty textbook sell-off like that, this day usually leads to a good rebound. Think of it as a rubber band. You have that sell-off, and all that tension is building up, building up, building up, building up, and then, like a rubber band, gets that snap, and it gets a good push back up. So watch. Think of this as a rubber band. It's pulling back from 12 to 970. Now let's take a look at the next day. There's your rubber band snap from 9 all the way up to almost 1150. Zoom out, and there it is. About this whole move right here, this measured move all the way down, this stock was able to get a nice, pretty much 50 cent, maybe 60% bounce off of that retracement right there. Let me draw a retracement here. So from the high all the way from the low, this stock bounced all the way up almost 75%. You see the way I'm looking at these charts and how I'm looking at it? I'm looking at these charts as, what's the advantage that I can take advantage of right here? What do I see? And this only comes with getting screen time under your belt. You start to see things over and over and over again, and you build up a memory of all this stuff. And then from 1060s to about 11, I'm going to say 1120s. This was in a range all right here. Here, I'll use a different color. From here It's all about how you look at the charts, guys. So this was just back and forth, all right here. Think of that as a range. It was just back and forth. And then it finally broke up out of that range. See how it pulled back down? That held as support, as this was all resistance in that range. And it pushed right up. Let me go back one. This is how it did it. It pushed up, came back down, even tested it again. Pushed up, shimmy pullback, pushed up, pulled back, pushed up. You see how it did that? This is where it can help too with you guys if you look at line charts compared with candlestick charts. Let me quickly change this to a line chart. I did have a tab where I would look at only specific line charts. And this is what we were just looking at on the candlesticks. You could see the range back and forth right here, back and forth. And then when this finally pushed up out of that range, it was pulling back and it was holding that support. Pushing up, gearing up, blast off. All stocks like to move their own certain different ways. But that is a good idea. Have one chart be a candlestick chart. Let me see. Candlestick solid. Have one chart be your candlesticks. And then you could have another chart on the side be a line chart. Let me open up Thinkorswim real quick. I want to show you guys. All right, I got Thinkorswim open. So let's say I was looking at ACB on this. And then if I go to my flexible grid, you see how I have all of these as line charts? Go back to ACB, and now I can, just with a click of a button, just quickly switch over and see ACB on multiple different time frames with line charts. Richard asked, is that a 65-minute chart? Yeah. Yeah, I look at 65-minute charts, not 60-minute charts. I learned it from Brian Shannon, because if you do the math on a one trading day from when the market opens at 9:30 to when it closes at 4, that's 6.5 hours. So 6.5. Now, if you divide that into 60, if you're looking at 60-minute charts, you're missing 30 minutes of data. So if you just change it to a 65-minute chart and add an extra 5 minutes, it evens it out to where you get the whole current trading day. And if you look at it through the whole week, you get an extra, what is it, half hour? So you just get more data by looking at 65-minute charts. If you look at 60-minute charts, you're missing data. Yup. And then on Street Smart Edge, right up here, I have the VIX, the QQQ, and the SPY, just so I can gauge and see where the market is, if it's green or red on the day, and where the VIX is. The VIX is the fear gauge. If that's up, there's fear in the market. PRD, good stuff as always. You know it. So going back to what we were talking about, it is a good idea, to have line charts and candlestick charts, just so your eyes can visually see the big picture. We were just breaking down ACB on how choppy it was. Let me zoom in on this a little bit. So you could just see just up, down, and just how choppy it can be at times with the candlesticks and the wicks. By just quickly changing your chart to a line chart, you get to see the general picture and idea of these moves sometimes. So let's see right here on the 3-minute time frame on a line chart on ACB, you could see 1050 was holding as support. It was building up higher lows. And then this $11 was acting as resistance. It pushed up through that 11, pulled back, and then it was holding as support. And then it got a nice surge up, pulled back. Then it was holding as resistance, surged up. So yeah, charts are a good way to train your eyes and see the big picture. I'm a big fan of using line charts with candlestick charts. Candlestick charts, you see more of the emotions with the wicks and the candles, the body of the candles. But candlesticks have their advantages, and line charts have their advantages, just as they have their disadvantages. Line charts, you can't really see the emotions. But look at the end here on ACB on the 1 minute. Clear bottom here at 1080 and like a basketball. Just bounce, bounce, bounce up, back down. Bounce, and it's just slowly puttering out. So look for it to either crack and fall down or bounce and break back up. And this could run back up to this level up here. See, even on the daily chart right here, I have a line chart with my basic moving averages plotted out. The yellow line is my 13 EMA. The blue line is my 50-day moving average. The green line is my 100-day moving average. And that red line is the 200-day moving average. And you could see that 13 EMA is crossing up. It's in a big, strong uptrend. And it's about to squeeze over that 200-day. We could have a good epic squeeze coming up. We could. That trigger level is going to be $12, like I said. breaks over 12, it's got room to run up to 13. Good. I mean, I'd keep an eye on it for sure. ACB. Even MJ, the marijuana ETF. Let me see. Looks like MJ's been stalling out at 16. That level right here. So this will probably pull back down to 1550s. And if 1550 can hold and work its way back up to 16 and break over 16, look for all your weed stocks to follow in sympathy. So 1550 and $15. I'd be keeping an eye on those levels. And then we just went over AMD. We went over FSLY. Those are all good stocks. And then I heard someone say Apple. They wanted me to take a look at Apple. Let me pull up the daily chart on my, okay. Here's the daily chart on Apple. You could clearly see that this stock is just riding that 100-day moving average. It's been making higher lows, and there's a resistance up here at this 125. Right there. It's making higher lows. Look for it to build up. That's a tough one to say right now because it could pull back to 120 here, or it could pull back down to 115 and keep building up. Longer term picture, building up for that 125 push. So if you're interested in Apple, look for it to pull back down and work its way back up to this 125. That is currently resistance right now. So it does look like it's trying to squeeze long term to the upside. And this could pop all the way back up to 137. Its highs. So it's looking good. Apple's looking good. It may even have a strong week next week. You're just going to have to gauge and test. You know, if for day trading, I don't know. That's more hard. But for swing trading, this is more of an ideal chart for swing trading for sure. Let's look at BLNK. See, look at this chart right here. Now, if I just simply drew a trend line and extended it, connecting all of the lower highs, You see how if you would have waited and it popped up through that trend line and pushed up, got a nice pullback. Now it's pushing back up. Watch for BLNK to break $25. If this can break 25, this can run back up to 27, 28 bucks. All these EV plays are still in play for a good rebound. See, even here on the 10-minute on the candlesticks, you can even draw a trend line right there. It's just starting to push up over that right there. That's more of a clearer one. So you got two trend lines that you could have done. But see, trend line, trend line, trend line, trend line, trend line. Finally got over it. Pushed up, pulled back. That trend line's holding as support. It pushes right back up. That's the stuff that I like to look for. What an epic move from 9 all the way up to 36 bucks. I mean, this stock just kept moving up, consolidate, move up, consolidate, move up, consolidate, move up, consolidate, move up, retrace a little, move up, retrace, move up. And when it was moving up at this level right here, look at that extreme volume right there. When a stock pushes up and makes a new high, it should do it on increased volume. We got the increased volume right here. And it just goes to show the emotions. People always love chasing after stocks when they're pushing up to new highs, because something triggers in their brain when a stock is breaking highs that they think it's just going to keep going and going, and they have no clear thought or idea of how much it will go up. They just assume it'll go up a lot. And this is where the emotions come in. And then look at, it's the statistics. 90% of people fail. Look at all that volume right there when this is pushing up to new highs for it to come all the way back down. There's your 90% of people who fail in the stock market. They're all still holding when this stock was up near its highs. You see the logics in that? So BLNK, man, and even paying attention to those mental price levels, that $20 mental level, see how it just pierced right through it and then it came right back up? Telling you guys, those mental price levels are so important to pay attention to. Everybody's trading off of mental price levels. Nobody's randomly buying at 1976, 1977. You know, they're buying at $20, they're selling at $20. Let's see, what were more stocks that popped up last week? STPK, good grind up all day. DUO, this was just popped up out of nowhere from 8 all the way up to 14. Look at that. This right here was the money shot. If you got in on that and it ramped all the way back up, talk about a payday from 10 all the way up to 14. I mean, even just trading off of that mental 1050, $10.50, a mental level. See the rounding bottom? And it ramps all the way up. And then it fell down. It was basing out right here. At that same level, it curved up right there. Made lower highs. And fell through. And if it was to ever pop up again, that would be resistance right there. HGSH. This was an epic fail on Friday. This had so much potential, but it just couldn't go. But look at what it did. The previous day, it was under $2. Gaps up and opens at around 4 and runs up to 550. I mean, that's a huge day for this stock. Man. It just set up right here. We were looking for that squeeze up higher, but it just failed. And you see how once everybody gave up the rest of the day, it just sold off. Because everybody who all bought and bought and bought and bought, they just gave up on it. And the rest of the day, everybody sold, putting more supply back out into the market. So the value of the price goes back down. Lewis Taurus, we already talked about NIO. That's in the part 1 study group. So if you want to go back and watch that one, we broke down and talked already about NIO. STRO, this could have a good move on it, potentially. Even on the 10-minute, look at that. It's just basing out at that $22. If this can get a clean break over $23.50, look out. This could have a good run. But if it breaks down below 22, 21.75, it's over with. I'm actually going to put an alert on this just in case. So a new trade price alert increases to, I'm going to say 23.25. And I'll create alerts on any stock that catches my attention. So like CIIC here, this is clearly still in play. I mean, this has been in play for a few days. See, and just comparing real quickly. This chart right here looks pretty much just similar to the chart we just looked at. STRO. This right here, STRO, looks very similar to CIIC right there, don't it? And look what CIIC did. Had a big shot all the way up. This is the type of stuff that I'm talking about. It's just hanging out and lingering around. Could have good explosive moves. But CIIC, look what it did here. Man, there's so many setups on this thing. So many. Go back to this morning. This morning right here, what do we got? We got a U-shaped breakout. There's your, or a cup and handle breakout. There's your U. Here's your handle. Yeah, it did drop down, but it came right back up. That right there should have been an indicator that there's a buyer down there propping up the stock. That's a big detail right there in one candle. That's the importance of knowing your candlesticks, guys. Long bottom wick, there's a buyer down there. Here's your U, your handle, breakout. From that mental $27, 27 to 28, pops up, pulls back, old resistance holding as support from 27.50 all the way up to 30 bucks. And there's a few trading opportunities on this. When it retraced all the way down and it broke through that trend line right there. And this is what's CIIC, where it's showing strength. So right here, you got your wedge. It broke to the downside, but then it came right back up and it hovered just below that VWAP and the area that it broke from, and it came and ran all the way back up. So look for 27.50 to hold as support, or 27 for a good run to test highs at 29 and 30 bucks. You see how I'm breaking down these charts, guys, and putting and formulating plans? Putting together and formulating plans is what I'm saying. And this is how you get better. Practice, practice. Why did the stock make a move like this? Why did the stock break it down candle by candle, time frame by time frame? Why did the stock move up? Why did it move down? Why did it make these moves? This is how you get better. So CIIC, real quickly, I'm going to add this. I already have it right there on this chart. And you could see the previous day here, I was keeping an eye on it with that trend line for a bounce. Man, I want to create an alert on it, but I don't want to Trade price increases to $29. And I want one for the trade price decreases to $27.50. I'd much rather have the $27.50. Get a good potential buy-in at $27.50 or even $27. Rips back up. I seen it before everybody else. Hits everybody's scanners because it's hitting new highs on the day. They all push me up in profit. That's the way it works. Someone mentioned Kirk. Kirk has a good bottom right there. Look at that bottom. That's a good bottom at $17.50. From $17.50, this could run back up to $18.50. Nice $1. Overall, though, good move on KIRK. Man, that's sick right there. From 1640s all the way down to 15. But the big picture was a wedge. And then after hours, it broke down below that wedge. And you could see that area where it broke down from was holding as resistance all right here. Little morning panic, surges up to resistance, pulls back, VWAP holds, pushes back up, holds as resistance, hovering out all right there, back down to VWAP. Almost like accumulation. Accumulation. All right here. All accumulation. People buying. And then the next day, look at that. Pushes them all up in profit. And the company put earnings out. Man, from 16.25 all the way up to $20. And look at that. It pinpricked that wick right there. Touched $20. See how important these mental levels are? It just touched it. $20, game over. All the way back down. So yeah, look for a good bounce potentially on KIRK. Drops below 1730s, 25. It's over. It's got room to bounce up to 1850. Maybe 19 if you're lucky. LPI, good grinder. EVK, man, that's nasty. But look at that squeeze that it did right here. Look at that. From $5 squeezes and grinds all the way up to 830s. $3.30. This bad boy just got squeezed. That's what happened. Man. Slap there was resistance at 650. And then right out of the open, draw your trend line connecting all the lower highs on it. It broke through right there, pushed up, and then it retraced back down right here, just hovering at that $5. Started building up, and look at all that volume that came into it right there. All that volume. And just exploded. Just up over that VWAP, 550, boom, straight up. And then so much volume was just coming into it that this just kept grinding and grinding and grinding with all that extreme volume. So for moving averages on my intraday charts, I like to use Fibonacci moving averages. So the blue line is a 55 EMA. Here. So the blue line is a 55 EMA. And the red line is a 233 EMA. And these are just Fibonacci numbers. That's all they are. And I've been using Fibonacci moving averages for about 8 months now. 9 months. I've been using Fibonacci moving averages. And for me personally, I love them. I mean, I personally think they intercept with the VWAP and how price action moves with the stock so perfectly, and they align so beautifully at times. It's really a sight sometimes. It really is. Especially when you have these Fibonacci moving averages work together and bounce off each other and move with the VWAP and cross over or below that VWAP. Oh, it's a great thing. So I use those Fibonacci moving averages on my 1-minute chart and my 10-minute chart. But then on my daily chart, I just keep it basic. Take a drink of my root beer real quick. AQB, good move. And look at this daily chart on AQB. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 straight green days in a row. So it just goes to show you, if you're short biased all the time, just because a stock's up doesn't mean it has to come down. A stock can keep going and going and going and going. Does it happen all the time? No. You know, of course, it's natural for stocks to move up and then come down, but don't believe in the saying, just because something moves up, it has to come down, because it doesn't. Always keep in mind, the stock market is always right. AQB, 41 million float. Look at this morning. This is just a beautiful chart, guys. That morning pushes up. Oops, that's too big. That morning pushes up, pulls back down to the VWAP. And then from there, you could have drawn a trend line and just connected all of the higher highs with the lower lows. This had a nice grind and push all the way up to 850 from around 650. Got a good, nice retracement on it. Curled at the bottom right here. Nice rounding bottom. Right back up to the highs. I mean, even right here, for an example, with the Fibonacci moving averages, you see how that red line just kept moving up all day? That's telling me that there's bullish sentiment that keeps pushing into this stock. And then slowly but surely, this red line came up to the VWAP and crossed up over the VWAP as the stock pushed up higher. And then that blue moving average, the Fibonacci moving average, when it peaked out up here, it pulled back. You see how it was holding as support and then pushed right back up, came down, fell through it, acting as resistance, came back down, VWAP holding as support, pushed up, and then that blue line was holding as resistance. That's the stuff that I'm talking about when I look at these charts. I look at my Fibonacci moving averages and the picture that they paint all together as one can be a beautiful thing. But I don't rely on these moving averages for trading. I don't. I look at them as a guide. I get that question all the time when I trade stocks. Do you use your moving averages as entries and exits? No, I don't. And then LIZI was a big mover too. But the thing with LIZI, this stock was a algorithmic stock all day. Like you could really tell the algorithms and computers were trading this all day. Grind it up, flush it down, grind it up, flush it down, grind it up, flush it down. Very, very choppy and moving very fast at a time. 25, 30 cents. This stock was moving up and down at a time. It was pretty wild. I mean, look at that end of day flush from 6 all the way down to 430s. That's nasty. CBAT pretty much done for. It may have a little bounce, probably not much though. This is a good example right here of failed follow through. This was that day the market closed a half a day early, the day before Easter, I think. Or was it Friday? But you could see it wedged out right there. And then it pushed and gapped up, but no follow through. It slammed down, couldn't really hold that area it broke from, and it was acting as resistance the whole day. Just no follow through. No volume the whole day, really. Jamar CC asks, how long have you been trading? I've been trading for 5 years. I've been a day trader, student of the stock market for 5 years. And I've been making YouTube videos for just over 2 years now. And same thing with the Discord. I've been running the Discord and teaching people for the past 2 years. So I learned how to trade before I actually started making videos and teaching people compared to most people out here. Richard Thorne says, sounds like you use support levels as your entries. You put a lot of work on knowing where support should be. Yeah, that's very important. You could study charts, study and study and study, and know where your support and resistance is. But at the end of the day, it comes down to having the guts to pull the trigger. How many times have you visually seen something and knew it was going to do that, but you didn't pull the trigger? And there's all kinds of people out there that they don't pull the trigger when they know what could happen. And then they say, wow, dang, I would have been right. And then they let their emotions take over. And then they end up chasing after the stock. And then what they had was a winning idea now turns into a losing emotional trade. They let their emotions get the best of them. But that's what it comes down to. Knowing that you know enough and you know how to read charts and trusting in yourself and pulling the trigger. That's when you start making money. So yeah, you have to know it's just basic support and resistance. I'm not using fancy indicators. RB Killer 123 says wheat stocks. We covered wheat stocks already. We covered wheat stocks in the part 1 of the Sunday group study session. And overall though, and like I said at the beginning of part 1, I said I bet there's going to be somebody that mentions pot stocks. There always is. But for me, I don't really care for wheat stocks. I really don't. I know a lot of people trade wheat stocks, but wheat stocks, they're just so random and so choppy because you have so many personalities and people and beliefs trading these stocks. You have long-term investors, swing traders, day traders, and it's just so popular with everybody. And you have all these different beliefs. People who only trade MACD, people who only trade Fibonacci, people who only trade RSI, people who only trade Ichimoku cloud. So many beliefs and personalities leads to randomness. And that is my personal belief. I put a lot of time into learning about psychology and emotions. You know, for the most part, guys, technical analysis is pretty straightforward and easy, but the real learning and where you'll separate yourself from everybody else comes from psychology and managing your emotions. And that's the honest truth. So, trading psychology, right here. I have 14 different videos in this playlist for you guys, all on psychology and emotions. I put a lot of hard work in these videos, guys. A lot of hard work. Hours and weeks, days into making these videos because I'm passionate about the stock market and emotions and psychology. So take advantage of these videos, guys. I'm telling you, you will benefit from these videos. You will. And you'll thank me later. And then another thing was, and I didn't believe it at first, but that is meditation. You know, I never looked at it seriously, but then I tried it. And for me, it's helped me so much. I can't even tell you guys. Every day before the market opens for 15-20 minutes, I meditate. And you know, I get my mind under control. I listen to my thoughts. How am I feeling? Monitor my thoughts, and I get in the zone. And I can't tell you guys how much meditating has actually helped improve my game. It really makes your mind clear, gets you focused and in the zone. And then when that bell rings, oh, it's game over. You're in the zone. Meditation is very underrated. Very underrated. So Joe asks, do you wait for support to show itself? The buy, the ask, or do you sit at support? It depends. You know, if there's multiple layers to this as a trader. If volume is clearly keeps pumping into a stock, and I can clearly see over the course of the past few days that there's just continuous volume in on a stock, to me, it's tradable. You know, if there's no volume, who am I going to sell my shares to? So if there's volume in on a stock and the price is moving and there's good price action and range, it's tradable to me. So let me give a good example of support and resistance. JMIA, this chart's pretty sloppy. It's not the cleanest. Let's see. Like right here. See how it bottomed out right there? And then it came up and it was acting all as resistance. All right up in here. Pushing up. And then it was holding that area that it failed from over here as support. Volume's been pumping into it even more from the previous day when you compare it. So there is a demand for the stock. If there's a demand, prices will go up. Pushes all the way up, and it pushes up to the area from way back there to right there. Not the clearest explanation and example for you guys, but I'm trying. That's with JMIA. And it just comes from also being here every day, breaking down charts, taking screenshots, and I've shown you guys this many, many times. I mean, look at all these different folders I have of charts. Candlestick patterns. There's a few of them in here of my own personal candlestick patterns that I recognize in the market. Chart patterns. All of these are captures that I've taken of chart patterns, and I break them down. And I personally myself, on my own time, put my work into this to get better. So I break it down. Why did the stock move up this high? Why did it retrace down here? Why did it make this move? Where did volume come from? I ask myself questions and I answer those questions. All of this, just break it down every day, all by myself, take a screenshot of it, and this is how you get better, guys. This is the technical analysis side. And then from doing this, you start to understand. It just starts clicking. Like, look at that's a clear wedge right there. How are you able to know that that's a wedge if you don't know what to look for? So you got to train yourself and study chart patterns, wedges, triangles, U-shapes. Pushes up, all the way up, and then it retraces all the way back down and bounces right at the area it broke from that triangle right here, right back up for a nice little opportunity for a trade. You know, I'm always taking pictures, or if I find something on the internet, I save it, I study it, and I store it in my memory. You know, stuff like this. A wedge pulled back to area it broke out from, and then it pushed up. And then once you memorize all this stuff and you burn it in your head, then when you're in the markets, and you guys see me when I trade live on Fridays, when the market opens, I'm chill as a cucumber. I ain't doing nothing. I'm just sitting back, talking and chilling with you guys. And then I'm waiting till I see something on a chart that looks familiar. And then I pull it up and I start analyzing it. This is how you do it, guys. So, on that note, if you guys agree with everything that I'm saying and be like, wow, this guy actually knows what he's talking about. Dang, he's been doing it for 5 years. Go to my YouTube channel, click that join button. You get an intro video here. Join the membership. You get access to the masterclass that I'm putting together, and I'm going to be putting all of my hard work into going into 2021. You get member-only videos. You're going to get twice a month, every other Sunday, study group sessions for members only. You guys can ask me any questions that you want. We're going to talk about stocks, prepare for the upcoming week, have game plans, and then you also get access to the Discord. Send me a private message with your YouTube username. You get full 100% access to all of the channels that I have on Discord. Over the past 3 years, I've filled this Discord up with knowledge that I've found useful and helpful as a trader for you all to use and take to your advantage. If you want chart patterns, it's a whole channel in here dedicated to chart patterns that I've added over the course of 3 years. All of this stuff. My own charts, stuff that I found on the internet, and so on and so on. 10/29/2018. I've been adding to this Discord and chart patterns, candlesticks, book recommendations. There's over 28 PDF complete books in this book recommendations. They're all free. All of these books with the PDF link. Audiobooks. There's over 18 different audiobooks in here for you guys. I'm giving you guys all the tools that will help you become as successful as you want to be. I can give you guys all the tools, but you got to be the one to put the work in. And that's what I've said over and over and over again. And this is what's going back to the first video when someone said, "Why so mad?" I get irritated when people come in here and ask the just most beginner questions that they could easily Google and find the answer to. If you can't put the work in and do that, then you're showing me you're not interested. You gotta be interested in this, push, and want to grow and learn yourself if you want to get this. You know, I'm really blunt and to the point. And this is where a lot of people like what I do, because I'm straight to the point. I don't beat around the bush. I tell it like it is. You know, and I'll call people out. If they're not studying, it'll really show in the types of questions that you ask. Bada boom, bada bang. So in the description of this video of the live stream or on my YouTube channel, if you just go right on over to the About section, I have all these links. I have the Discord link right there, my Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, my merchandise website, and I even have all the links right down here. And in every single one of my videos, if you go into the description of those videos, I have all the links that you guys need. All easy access. So you just gotta click and it'll direct you to right where you want to go. But alright guys, I think that's gonna about wrap it up. Part 1 was like 2 hours, now part 2 is like an hour and 20 minutes. Over 3 hours of the study group. So this study group was available to the public. This is going to be the last one available to the public going forward. Now going forward, every other Sunday, it's only going to be for members only. So we can all study as a group, learn from each other, bounce ideas off of each other, develop great game plans for stocks that we want to keep an eye on for the upcoming week. If you sign up for this, you're showing me that you're dedicated, and I'll put my time into you. That's the way I look at it. I'm just tired of a bunch of freeloaders always coming in and just picking me apart, asking me questions, and just expecting them to give them everything that I know, you know, and given my time, the most valuable asset that we all have, to them. What's that, what's that, this right here from Lingerer. But alright guys, that's gonna wrap it up for this one. Hopefully you guys all have a great trading week ahead. I will be in the Discord, as I always am throughout the trading week. And as I always say, guys, have that patience,